Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games, back with another really cool pinball repair video for you today. We are working on one of the most interesting machines we have ever done. This thing is just weird. So this is Bally's Future Spa pinball machine, which I guess the theme of the game is it's a spa in the future. It's glorious and god-awful at the same time, but I really like it, so we're going to fix it. We bought this in a storage building full of games a while back, and it's been sitting around. It's in very rough shape, but I think we can save it, so we're going to. Someone has repainted the back box, so it's in bad shape. And we've got the back glass that is in bad shape. Bad shape. But the playfield is in pretty good shape. So the playfield's in good shape. The back glass is savable. The bottom of the cabinet's in decent shape. The head needs repainted or something. I don't know. But hey, we're going to run through it. And this is a wide body pinball machine. So here's a stern from around the same time, normal sized. We'll be working on that one soon too. And then here's the wide body. So the thing has just unbelievable artwork on it, which basically it's a bunch of half-naked men and women in the 70s in bathing suits. And this thing is loaded. So it's the first game with inline drop targets. So there are 4, I think, drop targets in a row that you hit, and then you had to hit it again to knock the next one down. You had to hit it again to knock the next one down. So it's 4 inline drop targets, 5 pop bumpers, a saucer. There's a little rollover button up there. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lanes at the top, 2 spinners, a kicker, and then over here it has a ball save and then 3 in lanes, or I guess that's an out lane, 2 in lanes. This little gate can go either way. Pretty wild. So it's got all kinds of crap going on. It's a pretty fun game just because it's got so much stuff on it. And I'm glad that they resisted and only put 2 flippers on it instead of doing some weird 4 flipper thing. But the back glass is just incredible too, but we're working on it, so we'll have to check it out here in a little bit. But the artwork on the back glass is just crazy. And it also has this weird thing up here where there are lights back behind that, which creates kind of a weird, I think those are animated, and there's like a lenticular thing taped on the back of the back glass that makes the title do some funky stuff. But this is what we're starting with. It's pretty rough. Like I said, it was sitting up on its end for many years, so the top's pretty worn. The front is pretty worn. The sides we could probably get away with by cleaning them up if it wasn't for the back box being so messed up. It's faded, but the art's there. So let's look in the back box. Look at the hell that happened here. So I get that looks like smoke damage from something. So what in the world happened? So here's the power supply. I don't necessarily see that burnt up or anything. Here's the soundboard. We're finally getting to the point by the time that this came out where the Bally soundboards had a little more going on. So those are EPROMs, so it might have, I don't know. I don't remember if it's got voices or not, but game board is completely destroyed. Look at that. Completely destroyed. Light board looks pretty good. So I don't know if maybe the solenoid board something caught on fire on it and it smoked the whole cabinet. I don't know. Oh, and here's the little lamp board. Probably hard to see, might be a little dark. The little lamp board that runs that lenticular thing, I'm calling it. All right. So that's the back box. I'm going to take this huge sheet of glass off, and if it doesn't fall on me and kill me, I'm going to prop that big heavy ass playfield up and we'll see what's underneath it. Back of the coin door looks good. All the stuff over here looks complete. There's the knocker, there's the speaker. Got some various assorted junk up in there I'll have to get out. Look, it's so big they put a brace in it. And then the bottom of the playfield has some soot damage just from whatever smoked in the back box. But looks pretty good, so let's see. Nothing down here but lights and rollover switches. They're a little rusty. Hate seeing that, but should clean up pretty good. This is the saucer. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pop bumpers that still seem poppable. We've got 4 inline drop targets. Whoop. That still seem droppable. Okay. It's our ball save. This is our gate. This is our kicker. Slingshot. That's good. Got a couple flippers. Alright, well, everything's still moving. It's just, it needs worked through like usual, right? So the first thing I'm going to do, because it's in such horrible shape, is we're going to mess with the back glass a little bit. So we'll do the back glass first, just because it's literally damaged, and if I leave it laying around for very long, it's all going to flake away. It's all going to be gone with the wind. But this is what we're starting with. So let's check out that back glass. So here's all the goodies that we found down in the bottom of it. So first of all, there's this little plastic shield that goes on the power supply up in the top. So when it covers up the fuses. So it's removable, so you can change the fuses, but it protects you from getting shocked without thinking about it. There is a key that might be a copy of the one in the back box, but there is one in the back box too. There is this little thing, which is, it may have been part of the spinner or something. So we're going to see if anything's missing off of the spinner or a gate or something. This is just one of the little chalk blocks that fell off in the back corner. And then we've got instruction card. That might have been the one that they were using because it's all dirty. And then a different instruction card. They gave you different ones because some of them would have things like maximum 1 extra ball per ball in play. Let's see what's the difference here. This one, it adds this futurity targets, score lit values. It's not on this one, so there must have been different reasons. You know, there's different settings. And the difference between that one and this one is they're about the same. Oh, they have a little number down here. Oh yeah, look, it's 2 sets. So that's 150886E, and that's the same. So maybe we ended up with 2 sets somehow. This is the little replay card, and they have little slits in them so that you can add a different little piece of paper that tells you like the actual scores. So that might have been the one that they were putting in there, 400,000, 640,000. but there's like tons of them. And that's the replay one. Yet another instruction card. Okay, and then there were all these little, they gave you all these different little things for the front that you could change to make it say different stuff. So there's 2 plays for a quarter, there's 2 of those. One Susan B. Anthony, 4 plays, 6 plays, and 7 plays. 1 play, 1 quarter, 3 plays for 2 quarters. And so still on the machine, in all the filth, it says 1 play for a quarter, 1 Susan B. Anthony dollar gives you 5 plays, 1 play for a quarter. So let's see if the Susan B. Anthony, well, if I can get the door to open. So this would presumably be a Susan B. Anthony, yeah, it says down in there. Susan B. Anthony, so that's a Susan B. Anthony token, a dollar coin acceptor. We'll leave that in there, that's kind of neat. There were a couple pieces of paperwork, so there's this little sheet that says electronic sound options. The game is designed to make several tones and noises to announce power up, game up, etc. The tones are intended to attract attention to the game and increase game usage. The tones are controlled by switch settings as shown. If you turn 29 and 30 on, the playfield switches associated noises with background, so there must be some kind of going on the whole time. If 29 is on and 30 is off, playfield switches associated noises without background. 29 and 30 both off, most scoring will have a chime effect. There's not chimes in the game, it's just the soundboard makes chime noises. Switch 29 off, 30 on, most all scoring will have a noise effect. So we're going to turn 29 and 30 on because we want the full deal, people. We want to relive 1978 or whenever that was made in all its glory. 79. Okay, and then it had the manual. So it's a little rough, but it's complete, and it has all the schematics in the back, which we may need here shortly whenever we do the boards. Very cool. So this is what's left of the Backglass. Top half looks pretty good, bottom half is destroyed. So these, they have a certain era of Bally's. They started doing this new, like, I don't remember what it was called, but they had this new way of doing color that was much more, it was more like a print than previous ones were, you know, there would be a, like an area that was one color. On these, it was more almost like a photo. And so they could make it, the Backglass is much more complex and they look great, but the way that they were printed, apparently doesn't hold up as well to heat fluctuations. So what happens usually is somebody will take one of these and they'll put it in storage, and just the hot cold cycles makes the plastic, or the whatever this film is that this is printed on, makes this shrink and contract at a different speed than the glass. And so it starts separating from the glass. So you get all this kind of stuff where these big old chunks flake off. I've seen one online where like most of the art flaked off in one big piece. Horrible. So I'll show you what it looks like from the front very carefully so we don't make it even any worse. So you see there are big pieces of it. The top half is fine, but the bottom, especially down here in the middle, is just destroyed. But the good news is, and so you can see how it's all shaded. You can't do that with just regular, you know, with the old way of doing it. You wouldn't be able to silkscreen it like that, but they were able to get this painting look with this new process that they had. And the Backglasses look great, but they have that little thing where they'll do that. But here's the good part. We've still got all the pieces. We may be missing this piece, but that big chunk there and that big chunk there were still inside the back box. That one may be if I keep looking around. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take triple thick, which is like a pottery glaze, basically. It's real thick, clear, like a clear finish. We're going to take that stuff, we're going to spray it under and around these pieces, and then we're going to put saran. So while it's all wet, we're going to put saran wrap over it to protect the basically the paint from us. And then once we get the saran wrap on it, we're going to put a heavy weight on it to hold it down flat. And then we're going to let it dry. And when it dries, we're going to take the weight off, and then we're going to carefully peel the saran wrap off. And what we'll have left is a clear coat that has acted as a glue to glue all the pieces back flat. And you can actually get pretty good results with that. So I'm going to do that piece by piece, little by little, and glue all that stuff back down like that. And it should dry crystal clear. And if you know that it's messed up when you look at it, you'll be able to tell. But if you don't know at a glance, it'll fool you. And that'll get us where we can save our artwork. And then it'll still light up the same and everything from the back, because you're not messing with trying to repaint it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to clean it really good. And you got to be really careful. I mean, I can't do too much, but you can see that there's some kind of... See what I'm saying? There's like a haze on it. So I'm going to clean it a little bit as best I can. And then we're going to start gluing it down with spray paint. This is the type of stuff you have to do. So there was a big circle there missing. So I cleared just that part with triple thick crystal clear glaze. And then when it was wet, it had a nice wet bed, I carefully took the chipped away pieces and laid them down. And you can slide them around in that crap a little bit, and you get them lined up just right. And there were 3 of them, so I put the 3 pieces in, and then you put some saran wrap over it. And then I've got this is actually a hard drive, but just anything flat that's about the size of what you're doing. So I put that on it where it's nice and flat, and then I put this other power supply on top of it just to weight it down a little bit. And basically it's pushing that stuff down into the triple thick, and then it'll dry eventually, and it'll stay like that. And then it'll be permanently repaired. And when it's done, you can triple thick the whole back glass so all of it's held in place. So I'm going to do little pieces by piece. So I'm going to do that piece, and then whenever it dries, I'm going to take this off, and we'll peel the triple thick off, and then I can do this little piece here, this area. The hardest part is whenever you have things like this. So this is still, a lot of it's still stuck down, but you can see that it's coming off. So the best way to do it would be to pull it off and then put it back, but whenever you do that, you risk little slivers breaking off, and it's just a big mess. You see I got a bunch here too. So I'm just going to do it piece by piece by piece by piece by piece by piece by piece, and it'll take a couple days, but we'll get it where it's very presentable. So I took the weight off so you can see it a little better, what's going on. So there was one big piece here, and a big piece here. Maybe there were 2 pieces here, I don't know. But the way you can tell if it's done drying is the saran wrap, whenever it's dry, will just come right off. See how I'm still getting resistance? It's not dry. Whenever it dries, that stuff will just come right off, no problem. So we got to let it dry a little bit longer. I'll put the weight back on it, and we'll let it sit. Over the course of the past 2 days, we've been gluing little pieces down with crystal triple thick, and then putting saran wrap over it. And you can see, so like we did one there, and then we did some up there, and then some down here, and some over there, and there was a big old chunk right here that we got all kinds of paint under and got it to stick back down. And we're just going through trying to get everything as flat as possible. Can't get it perfect, but as flat as possible. And then once we get it all the way down, we're going to triple thick everything, you know. We've still got a little bit over here, but it is enough that I can show you a little bit of it, if I can do it without dropping it. If I drop this, I won't upload the video, so you'll never know. You'll think when I got this game it didn't have a backglass. So of course we're upside down. And this is the top half that was fine. Okay, so you ready to see our parts that we've repaired? What do you think? So it's not perfect, but in my opinion, completely presentable, right? And we're still working on it. Might get it a little better. You've got a little bit of, you can see some of the cracks, and they will have lights behind them, so it might be more obvious, but I might just leave them like that. I don't know. But what it comes down to is this thing was trash. It was complete trash, right? You saw, like, they had big old chunks of the paint that had fallen off. And if you think I can repaint that, you're out of your damn mind, right? I never would have fixed it where it looked right. But we just glued the little chips back on, basically, and it looks decent. I think it's coming out pretty good. I'm going to keep on keeping on. What do you think? Okay, so we got it all laid down about as flat as it can get. That little piece there was missing. It says game over. The little over part's missing, but I think I'm just going to leave it. Everything else is looking pretty good. So my next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take triple thick the whole back glass. Now normally people do it different ways. The way I do it is I paint right over the score windows because it dries clear, and if you do it right where it's got a good wet coverage over the windows whenever it dries, you see right through it. It's not a problem. So I'm gonna clear coat the back, and then we'll let it dry, and then we'll turn it over and see what we got. And here's what we ended up with. Check it out. From back here, the back glass is so busy just the way it was designed that you can't even really tell what's going on. Look at that. And of course you're mainly looking at the two figures in the middle who are what in the world? If this isn't the best back glass of all time, it's close. I mean, this is just incredible. Wow. Okay, so I'm going to turn off the lights, and we'll see how it looks with the lights off. Pretty cool. So down here, it's supposed to say game over down here at the bottom. There was a little chip missing. So I just removed the game over lights. Do you really even need to say game over? You know the game's over. So the parts that were damaged are all of this along the bottom, which looks fine. And then you can see the cracks. Basically the paint had shrunk to a smaller size than the glass. And so the chips of paint, when you put them back, they're not quite as big as they originally were. So there's a little crack all the way around all of the pieces that were replaced. So it's all from about halfway down are the only spots that were damaged. But if you get enough of that triple thick under it, it basically, you're gluing it to the glass. I mean, it's permanent. Or at least I've never had one get any worse after you do that. The main thing is keeping it in a air conditioned, which means cooling and heating, you know, keeping it in an air conditioned environment, and it won't get any worse. So you got these cracks. But I think we definitely saved it, right? Didn't we save it? That thing was trash, man. I wonder how many of them have been thrown away over the years because of that. And you can literally put it back together with some spray paint, some clear coat, basically. Just look at this damn back glass, though. I mean, this thing is incredible. First of all, they've got this effect here where the lights do this crazy thing. Looks fantastic. The whole back glass is mirrored. You can see all of this stuff. You can see my camera. So they printed it with mirrored ink, which that laid it out on a lot of games, but especially Bally. It seems like they really like that. The theme is a future spa, and this, by the way, is the same Bally that owns the Bally Total Fitness stuff. It's the same company. So they were really into it, right? And so over here you've got I guess this is what a spa or a gym in the future will look like. I have no clue what the hell this girl's doing. It looks like a really cool Cirque du Soleil or something. I don't know. And then there's some kind of yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say. It kind of speaks for itself, doesn't it? There's really not much to talk about. Look at this guy. Yeah, babe. What the hell is he? Well, and so this girl has the Bo Derek thing going on with the braids. And then this guy over here. Yeah, man. What the hell? I mean, and so this says exercise analyzer. And it says force field resistance 2004. Series 7, 115, 120 over 80. You know, that's what your blood pressure's supposed to be. So this sucker's got good blood pressure. Exer, anabolic, catabolic, cardiovascular resistance, nitrogen assimilation. Caution, do not exceed 2 repetitions. Okay. So I guess it's like he's lifting weights. It kind of looks like a forklift or something, and he's got a bar and he's lifting things up. All right, and so then you've got this city back here in the back, and you've got these 2 people running. Oh yeah, I guess they're exercising by running, right? Right. And so this track comes all along to the point where these are the 2 runners in the front. So we'll look at the dude first so we can get him out of the way. It's so well painted. I mean, just the is this Paul Ferris? This is Paul Ferris, isn't it? Or is this Christensen? I thought I saw a signature on it somewhere. Where is our signature? Yeah, it was right over there. Mr. Paul Ferris, of course. So there's this dude. It says his name is Phil. That's Phil there. He kind of looks like Dr. Phil with hair, a little bit. It's like if you imagine him bald. How's that working for you? All right. Dude's in good shape. And so his boots say 4.5. And then her boots say force. She kind of looks like Stephanie McMahon a little bit, doesn't she? She looks like Stephanie McMahon a little bit with braids. Crazy. It looks fantastic. Like I said, this is one of the absolute, in my opinion, this guy Ferris was the best Backglass guy. I mean, maybe there's somebody better I just don't know about, but this guy was just bananas, the stuff he did. He did this one, he did Lost World, and then didn't he do some of the ones for Williams too? Some of the real funny, the real famous ones like I might have that all wrong. Anyway, look him up, Paul Ferris. The guy did a bunch of really cool stuff. So yeah, there you go. I think we saved it good enough for me at least. Like I wouldn't mind having that in my house with the little cracks on it. Wouldn't bother me at all. And if it doesn't get any worse, hey, we actually made it get better, right? All right, so there you go. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Now, as you can see, this thing has kind of been repaired up a little bit, and in at the beginning of this video, it wasn't repaired like this. That's because this took us like 2 weeks to do all this. And while we've been working on the Backglass, we've been working on the game a little bit. So the game's getting there. It's not completely done yet, but we are filming other videos that we are editing concurrently with this video. So there will be more future spa videos, and of course we will play it at the end. So if you haven't already, subscribe to us, and we'll go through this interesting game and get it all up and running and get it all cataloged on video for you as well. So leave your comments below. Make sure to give us a thumbs up for taking the trouble to film it for you as we walk through it, because we didn't have to do that, folks. Slows us down a little bit, as a matter of fact. But you know what? We don't care, because we like our YouTube fans, and we want to make sure we bring you along for the trip however we can. So we always film this stuff whenever we get something really interesting in like this that we're working on. So leave your comments below. Give us a thumbs up for taking the trouble to film it for you. Subscribe to us if you haven't already, and we will see you on the next video.